Hey guys, I promised I would do another editing video, so here I am. I am not turning on my camera because it has been a rough week with kids sick and just busy here at home, but I wanted to go ahead and show you what I do when I go to edit. Now, if you haven't or seen the other video that I did, you'll know that I do use Imagen, which is, I think they call it Imagine, which is an editing AI to do all of my edits. And this was actually fully edited with AI, and which is kind of amazing. But I'm going to show you how I do it without, so that this way you have an idea of how to get to this point, because the AI is built off of the information that I have fed it. So there's no point of really getting into AI editing unless you actually know what you're doing and how you want things to look. It'll probably just be a waste of money for you until you have built up enough portfolio, or in my case, I feel like catalog. So I've inputted like 30,000 photos into the catalog so that it can learn my style specifically. And yeah, if you want more information about that, let me know. I'll definitely put a link for you to try it out. It's been a game changer for me. Just to give you an idea, there's 96 images that were edited from this, and it cost me $5 to cull and edit the entire session, and it took about like 15 minutes. So definitely worthwhile. If you're interested in, I can definitely make a video on how I do that as well. So let's go ahead here and take a look at some of the edits. You might hear my kids coughing, Luke's cutting the lawn, so just bear with me here. So let's see here, one of the first photos that we did. Obviously these are already edited, but I'm going to reset it here so you can see exactly how I get to this one. So I'm going to put this as a pic just so that way I don't mess around with it. So I'm going to reset it. So this is what it looks like when I shot it raw, and you can see my settings here up at the top. So my ISO is 250, I shot it at 3.2, and my shutter speed was 800. And this is pretty much a standard, I would say a standard way that I always shoot. But yeah, for me, I feel like there's not a ton of edits that I do, in the sense of like, it doesn't seem very complicated, but I really just kind of go off of feel and really just try to understand, like I know my style so well, if that makes sense. So let's just start off. I'm already going to warm this up a little bit, and then I'm going to bring my exposure up just a smidge. And now I always work in the shadows, so everybody who is asking me, or I've had people ask me like why I keep my ISO over 100, and the camera that I use, honestly, ISO doesn't really start to affect it, I find, until like 2000. So until my like ISO hits like 2000, I find I don't really get a lot of grain. Okay, so I brought the shadows up, and so what I was saying is that the shadows, yeah, I always bring them up, and that's kind of probably one of my main tricks, I would say. I'm also going to bring the magenta up here a little bit. I love that she's wearing pink. She also had like pink touches in her makeup, so I really want to make that pink pop a little bit. I always bring the texture up. I just like the way that looks, and I'm going to dehaze it just a smidge here, and I'm going to bring the whites up and the blacks down just a smidge, and I'm going to bring the contrast up. And as you can see here, I'm going to adjust the highlights as well, bring them down. I don't want them overblown. And you'll see I'm bringing the shadows up a little bit more, bringing the highlights down. And yeah, do a little dehaze, and maybe make this a little less pink. Maybe warm it up a smidge. Let's see. So you can like obviously see as I go bluer and as I warm it up. Now, I like to also play with this one here. I don't know how much I showed you last time, but sometimes I just feel like this gives it the boost that I needed to when you're playing with these sliders. There we go. That's exactly what I was looking for. It's just to bring that softness. And then bring these down here a little bit. Now, she's looking a little bit orangey, so I'm gonna bring this here and try and pull that out just a smidge. and that kind of like dulls it out for me, I find. So I just bring the brightness up again. So this is, I'll show you like a before and after. And honestly, that's all I would really do for this image. I think that that looks great. So yeah. All right, let's move on to another part of the session. So let's go to a different area. Okay, so them walking out here in the field. Let's see here. So these ones here, there's a bit of direct sunlight on this one. So let's go back to the full image. So this is what it looks like edited, and as you can see, like from the last one, it's very similar to the way I would have edited it. But let's reset here just so that way you can see how to get there, because it's not just like, okay, move these sliders and then you'll get exactly, you know, this thing. And I also want to crop it in a little bit more, I think, too. Okay, so first things first, warm it up just a smidge. And then let's bring the exposure. Let's bring the contrast a little. Let's bring the highlights down. Let's bring these shadows up. Bring the whites. Let's bring these blacks out. Add some texture. Dehaze just a smidge. You can see I'm adding a little bit more pink in here again. Maybe warm it up. And then I'm gonna play with those shadows again. And as you can see here, I'm gonna bring these highlights down, bring these darks up. There we go. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Again, I'm going to try and remove some of that orange here by using the little dropper tool. And then I'm just shifting the saturation ever so slightly. I don't want them to look like dead. What I mean by that is where their skin looks gray. I still want their skin to look very like colorful, I guess. Not colorful, but not like it has life, if that makes sense. Then I'm gonna brighten it up, bring your highlights down even more. And that's really it. So I'll put that as a pic as well. That'll be one that I'll export. All right, let's head to the field. Okay, let's do this one here. Let's add this as a pic. So there's like a couple things here in the background that I would want to fix. And also I don't like that I cut off their feet. I don't know, that was the editor, yeah. So the first things I'm going to do is remove some stuff here. So with this new AI, which if you haven't figured this out yet or used it, please go ahead and do it. It is amazing, to be honest with you. Now, I don't really like these like dead looking trees, so I'm going to select them. There's like this weird box thing, this dead tree. And then there's some cars here. And then I know this is going to be really picky, but there's also this kind of weird thing on the door. Okay, let's see what it does. Now, if you do use AI on your images, it will show up on like Instagram at least that it was made with AI. So just keep that in mind. I think that did a pretty good job. So you just hit enter a couple times and then it goes away. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. And I really liked, I don't know if you remember from the session that I said like I really wanted to have different like layers in this image. So that's why I liked shooting either with the trees or with the building, and to give some variety in there. And yeah, so let's reset this now so that we know where we want to go with it. So, oh, it brought everything back. Shit. Okay, well, let's just, anyways, you get to see all the settings here, which is exactly the same, really. You can see literally all of the different sliders here and where they ended up, and honestly, I wouldn't change anything. So I think because I did the AI, like I'm not gonna redo this, but you can definitely take a look and see that this is very much similar to the other ones that I did. Just make sure that's a pick. Okay, let's go over here. Let's see. Okay, let's use this one here. Now, maybe I'll do the AI at the end. I don't necessarily love this, whatever you call this, bird feeder and this bench here. Now, before I would have obviously just left it, but now with the new AI, it seems pretty cool to be able to just remove it. And you can kind of see there's like, if you want to get really picky, there's lights and stuff like that, or poles at the end. Those are things that you could remove. Now, do I do this on every single image? No. But would I do it if I was like really in love with this image and I was like, okay, I'm going to post this somewhere, I'm going to put this online, then yes, I would definitely want to remove as much of the background, like even these little yellow pieces in the tree. I'd probably just be fixing that. Even like some of the weird grasses, like, you know, I don't know what this is, looks like almost garbage or something here. That's getting like really intense, but only because this AI is so easy to work with that I would do that. So definitely explore it. Again, only if you're gonna deliver this, like in the sense of like put this online somewhere. If it's just for the client and you're not super in love with it, like it's just like a nice photo, then obviously you don't have to do that. Okay, so let's reset it here. So this one was a little bit darker, so you can see my settings. Again, my ISO is 250. I'm at 2.5 for this one, and my shutter speed was 400. And again, I'm just going to start right off with warming this up. And if you saw in the last one, I warmed it up pretty high. Bring this guy up a little too, those pinks. Let's brighten her up a little bit here. And then we're going to start pulling down some of these highlights. You see how already like it looks so much better. Bring these contrast up and bring these shadows up here. It's so funny, as I go through this, I can almost see like other people's editing styles as I'm editing it. Even though it's not how I would edit it, it's still like really beautiful. I mean, obviously if you like darken it up, this gives you like a different style altogether, right? So my style is a little bit on the brighter side. And it doesn't mean that one's better than the other. It's just that this is how I do it, obviously. So keep that in mind. Just because I do it this way doesn't mean you have to. I'm just sharing for those that want to learn. And don't think that you absolutely have to do it this way. This is just how I do it. It took me years, I would say, as well, to figure out my like own unique style. And I still feel like it's kind of always evolving and changing a little bit too. So just remember, you're an artist and this is art, and that's just kind of part of it, right? So I am going to bring the vibrance down a little bit here. All right. Okay, so this is looking better, but I still feel like it could use a little bit of vibrancy here. So I'm going to dehaze it a little bit. I'm going to brighten it up a smidge here. Oh, it's because I haven't played with this. Okay, so here, let's bring these lights up here. Bring the darks. There we go. Okay, so if you look at this now, a little before and after, that's kind of where I would end up. So let's flag that as a pick. Okay, let's go to another spot here. Okay, sorry I keep getting interrupted here. Let's get going on this one. So I'm gonna pick this one. I'm going to reset it here. And let's just get going. So let's warm it up. Let's bring the pinks up. Let's brighten it up here. Let's bring these highlights down. Bring the shadows up, whites, blacks up, texture, a little clarity, a little dehaze. As you can see, it's like literally almost the exact same thing. I'm gonna brighten the pinks here. And then let's play around here. Sorry if you can hear my kids here. So bring these blacks up again here. Let's warm it up. Okay, so now I look and like I see her like legs are kind of looking a little orange. Like if you were to compare her leg to his hand, I find like it's a little bit warm. So what I'm going to do here, okay, this might be the last one because my kids keep interrupting me. Mom life. Okay, so let's bring the lights up here a little bit. Bring the darks down. I'm gonna bring this contrast up. I was talking about the oranges, yeah. So I'm gonna pull that orange out of her foot. It's kind of like a pink. Looks a bit better. And I'm going to brighten it up with these shadows again. Bring the contrast. There we go. So let's see a before and after. So you can see kind of where it got to from there. That's gonna be a pick. And then in terms of exporting, I just export these. I can show you what it would look like. So let's just custom filter here. Let's go by flagged. So this one, and sometimes I'll just go through them like this after. And so see how this one looks like really nice and bright, and this one looks a little flat. I might tweak it a little bit here and dehaze, because I'm not like, I don't like it side by side, and that's okay. But don't do this too much, because sometimes it's never going to be exactly the same. So here, maybe a little bit warmer. Let me bring those highlights down a little so you can see the sky. Bring the contrast up. Maybe brighten this one up a little bit more. And maybe crop in. And then here, just bring these shadows up. I feel like it's very green. So I might just literally grab this little mixer guy and just pull down the greens here. That's a little bit better. And that's, yeah. So sometimes I'll do that when I look at them all together. You can see they all kind of look a little bit different depending on the location. And that's okay. It's your art, and that's the way that you're doing it, and that's totally okay. All right, so exporting, I just select them, so Command A, I'm on a Mac, and then I export them. Now, I'm going to put them in the same folder as the original folder, and then I'm gonna call this Edits on Loom, because that's what I'm doing right now. And then I'm going to rename them. So I like to name them this way. You do not have to name them this way. This is just how I do it. And so it was Catherine, Chris, engagement. There we go. I limit my file sizes to 10,000. I don't resize them. I put the resolution to 300 and I sharpen, and that's it, really. And then export. And that's it, you guys. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll put the link for the editor in here, and yeah, I'll share these in the group. Thanks again. See you next time. Bye.